guys are all enjoying the lunch that has been provided by Joe Rizza. So a big thank you to Joe Rizza Auto Group for supplying the lunch, and of course even some vino I see over there as well. But thank you all for coming to our monthly membership meeting. And we of course have a guest speaker for you all, and she'll start momentarily. But I just wanted to say a couple words, just to kind of tell you guys what the Chamber has all been doing. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sarah Seshukedage. I'm the CEO of the Orland Park Area Chamber of Commerce. The guy walking around with the camera in his hand, that is our media coordinator, Mike De Guzman. And then the gentleman right in the back with the orange shirt, that is Andy Boetta, who is our membership coordinator. So if you have not met them or myself yet, please, let's find time to just say hello and have a quick little chat. So our monthly membership meetings are a great way for us to get to know you, and a really great way for you all to network with other Chamber members and really get to learn about what all encompasses our community. And what's even great too is our monthly membership meetings, we rotate locations so that way our businesses are able to showcase who they are, what they do. People are able to, walk through their doors and see all that they offer. And it's also a great way for us to partner with other members as they like to come up and give a presentation. So again, it's another way for us to partner with more members and for them to share what they offer the community. So just a couple things before I turn it over to our brand new Chamber President, Dan McMillan here. I just wanted to give you all a reminder that our big annual golf outing is in 2 weeks. I can't believe it's already going to be June already. I feel like it still needs to be February or March. But in 2 weeks we have that golf outing. There are plenty of spaces if you want to come yourself or if you want to get together a foursome. We also have many sponsorship opportunities, which is a great way for you guys to get your brand out in the community. And again, it's just a fun day, a lot of camaraderie, a lot of laughter. Highly recommend if you really want to get out there and meet people, engage. This is a really great event to participate in. We also have our Orland Women's Networking Tea Time. Not like tea that you drink, but tea as in golf too. So we're trying to keep with that theme. So ladies, if you want to kick off your heels tonight, at 5 o'clock we will be meeting at Silver Lake Country Club, and we will be practicing our golf swings. We will have a golf pro giving some tips and tricks, as well as teaching us some golf etiquette as well. So come on out, space is available, we'd love to have you. Again, it's a great networking opportunity. There will be a taco bar and some drinks, so lots of fun tonight. We also have a ribbon cutting tomorrow at the Irish Patriot. So if you have not been to that pub restaurant in the heart of the Old Orland district, please come on by. That ribbon cutting is at 2 p.m. tomorrow. It's really like a little hidden gem in the old district. Super cute building. So if you want to, again, have an opportunity to network, again, free event, come on out tomorrow afternoon. I also want to congratulate Fogo de Chao that has just newly opened as well in Orland Park. They have really been participating a lot with the Chamber, and we welcome you because I know you are brand new to the group, so welcome and thank you. And we look forward to your event that's tomorrow evening. Does anybody have any questions regarding the Chamber, what we do? No? All right. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Dan right now, and he will say a couple words and turn it over to the guest speaker.
Thank you, Sarah. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It's nice to see everybody. It's great to have everyone at these membership meetings. Today we're going to learn. We're going to learn a lot, but before we learn, I'm going to also talk a little bit about the golf outing. Does everybody in here know how to golf? Yeah. Everybody does.
Find your definition of golf. There's no definition. Yep.
Yes. Well, with you, it would be having a, what do they call it? What did you yell at me with?
Megaphone.
You would have to have a megaphone so you could tell everybody.
Exactly.
But we have the golf outing coming up June 10th, isn't it? Yeah. Tuesday, June 10th. over at we're back at Silver Lake. Amy's not here, is she?
No.
Okay, so I can talk about her?
Yep.
Okay, so, no. We love Amy Cockhill. They do a tremendous job as the host. And please, everyone, go online or just grab one of these today and let's fill it out and be ready for our next big event. Our next big event. But here we are, big event here. I do want to thank our host today, Tony Rizza. Thank you very much for having us today. It's great to have these in local businesses because it really brings you down. We have our meetings in the library, of course. Don't we love the library? Is the library our favorite place other than Joe Rizza Porsche? Yes. So we love to do these membership meetings. Get out into the area. Today we have a very special guest. I know you're thinking, God, will he just get off and introduce the speaker so we can get to the next part? Because the next part is really good. How many of you already knew that May is National Mental Health Awareness Month? Yeah. Some reason I was reading something last night and I was talking to somebody about it and I said, oh, May is National Health Awareness Month. So appropriately, we have a speaker about mental health and mental health awareness. We're going to talk about it, and she's going to talk about it, but I would also emphasize that mental health is something not to be, I'm not making any jokes about it. It's a difficult situation because you always look at something and somebody that did something that can't be normal. They can't be normal. You said there's mental health, but how were you aware? How could you have stopped it by getting that person help earlier on? And that's what Emily Flores, LCPC, what does that stand for?
Licensed Clinical Professional Counselor.
Very good. So she's a professional, she's licensed, she's here to explain to you mental health awareness. Let me introduce Emily Flores. Thank you. Oh, come on, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Emily, so don't worry about the acronym of my title. It just means clinical therapist. In our field, it's just a long time for schooling, so that's kind of all it means. And I'm also the proud owner of Lotus Healing and Wellness Center. So, yeah, we can kind of jump in. I'm really excited. And I'm also feel very privileged because, as he mentioned, it is May Mental Health Awareness Month, and to be honest, I don't think we talk enough about this, so even though I think it is great that we are focusing on May Mental Health Awareness Month, I think this is a topic that should be talked about more than just May, so at least we're starting with this, okay? So we'll kind of jump in, and at the end, if anyone has questions, let me know. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, great. All right. Okay. All right. So basically, as we kind of jump in, the goal of my slides are to just kind of educate you guys if you don't kind of know what mental health is. And then I'm going to go over some skills and then kind of talk to you how we can regulate ourselves. And then at the end, I'll be open to any questions you guys have. Okay? So we'll kind of go ahead and jump in. As I mentioned, I'm a clinical therapist and I own Lotus Healing and Wellness Center. It is a holistic practice, and basically what that means is we really believe in helping the client internally as a whole. Although we will have clients that need help and we will, suggest like medication management for them, we really believe that healing happens within. So again, our practice really focuses on all of you guys without you knowing. You actually have the power to calm yourself down. There's tools that you can learn to regulate yourself. So we're really proud that the work that we do, we teach you guys to empower you. Again, there's so many other ways that are helpful, like you can reach out to a different supportive person or get medication management or go for a walk. But again, a lot of the holistic we do, we believe you kind of heal as a whole, and I'll kind of get into that with you guys. I did put a couple statistics, and I don't want to bore you guys with it, but I know they're going to share this with you guys afterwards, so I just tried to share a little bit of information. The important thing is that with mental health, there are so many people that are impacted. and often not in a healthy way. 1 in 5 people have struggles with mental health, whether that be they struggle with anxiety, depression, PTSD, things like that. Also, like 1 in every 10 seconds, somebody takes their life. So unfortunately, this is like a big epidemic, and mental health impacts all of us. So again, the goal today too is to normalize for you guys. Let's talk about mental health. It shouldn't be uncomfortable. I can't tell you what makes me so sad is when I have a new client come in the office and they will share with me, nobody knows that they're getting treatment. You know, I've had clients, I gotta answer the phone, my dad's calling, my girlfriend's calling, and honestly, it makes me really sad, and I thought that I would build immunity up to it, but I haven't. And I think it also hurts me because, you know, they don't realize that that family member or that coworker, if they were to know they were struggling, I myself can't do all the work as a therapist, right? Clients come in, typically 1 day out of the week. We do go over skills, resources. I do my best, but I'm only one person. So again, I think it's so important we're doing something like this because we're talking about it, we're normalizing it. It's not something that should be not talked about, okay? Thank you. All right, so basically mental health, and I'm gonna just kind of keep it short. We're not in school here. I don't have to like give you the whole definition of mental health. Basically what mental health is, it is something that impacts our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. So to kind of highlight what that really means, you guys, is how our mental health is, it impacts everything. It impacts how we think, it impacts how we feel, it impacts our behavior. Now, one of the goals that I teach clients is the goal is what we want is a resilient nervous system, okay? Meaning the goal is none of us are gonna have perfect mental health. One side fact is every human being is born with abnormalities in my brain. When I do therapy, I'm kind of dorky. I do like the neuroscience, which a lot of clients tend to like because it's factual. So again, for all of us in here, nobody goes through life unscathed. We already are kind of set up where we have abnormalities in our brain, kind of similar to like all of us physically might be predisposed for like cancer. It's the same thing for our brain. So again, with this understanding that our goal with our mental health is to make it more resilient, okay? All of us are gonna have maybe stress or anxiety or difficult times. The goal is, can we learn to teach our nervous system to have more resiliency, right? Can we kind of learn to work through the stress, learn to work through the anxiety, or learn to work through the depression? Thank you. Okay, so as I was thinking of meeting with all of you, I'm like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do with only 15 minutes, right? That's such a short time to talk about mental health. So what I decided is I think one of the most important skills that can really help you guys with mental health is teaching you something that I teach every client of mine. And I'm gonna do my best to kind of keep it a little bit short so nobody falls asleep. But again, I'm also open to your feedback at the end to see what you guys think. But I think this is something that I do with every client, and I think it really teaches how we can help our mental health, okay? So what the concept is called is the window of tolerance. And what this means is all of you, I'm sure, know what it's like when you're in your window of tolerance. And what it means is when you're in your window of tolerance, your nervous system, the fancy word is called homeostasis. And that's fitting because this is a car place, so I'll use the analogy of a car. What it's like is when your nervous system is in homeostasis, the car is working great, or your nervous system is working great, there's no threats. There's no lights on, so everything in your body is working the way that it should, okay? Now, what tends to happen though is your nervous system is based on something called a hierarchy, meaning your nervous system naturally will go above the window of tolerance, which we'll get into, and it also has the capacity to go below the window of tolerance, okay? What happens for most of us that maybe struggle with mental health is we don't have the tools or capacity to stay in the window of tolerance longer, okay? So what it looks like when you're in your window of tolerance is you are calm, you are collective, you are relaxed. An example might be, I don't have a boss anymore because I'm a boss, but I could think back when I worked for somebody. Example might be, let's say my boss upsets me or irritates me. If I'm in my window of tolerance, I'm just gonna blow it off. I'm not gonna really get frustrated, I'm not gonna ruminate, which means think about it all day. I'm not going to hyperfixate it on. I'm just gonna like have an awareness of, oh, okay, that irritated me and let it go, okay? Again, for most of us, and it's not our fault, most people have not learned how to regulate ourselves. Most of us don't know what it's like to have that resiliency or capacity to be in your window of tolerance. So I'm teaching you this because this can help us kind of regulate the nervous system and help with our mental health. So one example of when we go above the window of tolerance, I'll ask you guys in here, and you don't have to answer, but if you want, I think it would be helpful. Does anyone in here feel like they might struggle or not yet know how to manage their anxiety? I'll raise my hand because I have in the past. Thank you guys. And there were guys that raised their hand. So thank you guys. I know oftentimes with mental health with men, they're not so open, so I really appreciate you guys saying that. All right, so this is for you guys. So when we feel, so I mentioned about the window of tolerance. When our nervous system detects a threat, which is actually very normal, we go above the window of tolerance. And what that looks like in a car is everything is in overdrive. Again, your brain, whether it knows it or not, whether it's a real threat or not a threat, it gets overwhelmed. So what occurs is your body kind of heats up. Most of you might have heard the fight, flight, or freeze response. Your, again, nervous system is trying to protect you. So everything overwhelms you. Now, the good news is when you're experiencing anxiety, that's actually healthy. It means that you're okay. And that's another takeaway that I hope you guys can learn about mental health is that both anxiety and depression are not bad. They're actually something you can't avoid, and it's actually a normal human experience. The difference is the people that have normal or more resilient mental health versus those that really struggle with their mental health. The difference is people are above their window of tolerance, which is called hyperarousal. That's more of the anxiety. The difference between, again, those of us that are managing our mental health well versus not, the reality is those people are above their window of tolerance for too long. So kind of like the example, did my mic go off?
It went out.
Okay, I'll talk up a little bit. As I kind of gave you the example of feeling anxious if your boss was kind of telling you something and you shift out of your window of tolerance. The difference is that our goal is not to allow that anxiety to be in that state all day long, right? Again, healthy amount of stress and anxiety is good, but for some of us it's, are you aware you're experiencing it? Do you have a moment of like, ooh, my boss bothered me, I could tell I'm activated, I could tell I'm overwhelmed, and at that point, is there something you can do to kind of regulate yourself, right? Now, it's the same thing for going below the window of tolerance. They're both called dysregulation. What happens is your nervous system doesn't have a capacity to be anxious all the time. So what happens, and you could think of a roller coaster, your nervous system gets really overwhelmed and it feels really anxious, but again, it can't stay there for that long. Again, you can think of the analogy of a car, and what will happen is it will kind of dip down. Right? And that's called hypoarousal, and another word for that you might know is depression. Your body shuts down. In the nervous system, it's called the dorsal collapse response. Again, it's a normal, healthy thing. But what we're trying to understand about mental health is we're just trying to change that relationship. And again, I like to kind of share this analogy because it's normal. There's nothing wrong with anxiety. There's nothing wrong with depression. For those of people that you know that don't ever experience it, those are the people I worry about because, again, experiencing either anxiety or depression is something normal. So kind of the takeaway with this is just understanding that we just don't want to be out of our window for so long for a very long duration of time, right? So again, with that example, it would be you observe that your boss upset you, you maybe feel anxious, you feel overwhelmed, but what can you do to like ground yourself to work through that so that way it's not impacting your whole day? Okay, so this is ways to support your mental health. Now there's a lot of examples, and I'm gonna just kind of pick from a few of them. My favorite exercise with helping with ground ourselves and working through mental health is a breathing exercise, okay? Anybody in here ever practiced a breathing exercise? Okay, perfect. Has anybody heard of the 5-7-8 breathing technique?
I've heard of one that is a triangle technique or a
Okay.
square technique.
The box breathing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's good. All right, so if you guys are open to it, I'd like to kind of teach skills that you guys can actually utilize. So if you're open to it, I'm going to teach you the 5-7-8 breathing technique, okay? I'll kind of lead it. I'll kind of count out the 5-7-8, and you guys just have to kind of follow along with me, okay? I'm not going to do it today, but in order for this exercise to work the best, you do have to do 5 to 6 cycles. Today, we'll just do 2 cycles, okay? But for your homework would be to add 3 or 4 cycles and eventually get to 5 or 6, okay? Now this is a scientific breathing exercise that's effective. It activates, as I was telling you guys, when you're in the window of tolerance and you're in that homeostasis, doing this exercise actually brings you there, okay? 2 things to add with this exercise. A lot of my clients will complain and be like, Emily, it doesn't work. Most people, though, try to use this when they're activated or out of their window, okay? So one of the tools for any type of mental health coping skill is you kind of have to practice when you're neutral. You kind of have to practice when you're relaxed, because again, your body learns new things in a motor movement, and when we're feeling out of that window, we might not be able to utilize some of these coping skills, okay? So again, practice skills when you're calm or collective, so then your body and brain can remember, and then when you're actually in a crisis, it's helpful, okay? And my second suggestion is, let's say you don't like a breathing technique, that's okay, okay? The goal is for you to learn as many coping skills as you can, and then it's kind of like a toolbox, and then you can kind of pull the ones that work for you, okay? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try the 5-7-8 breathing technique. I'm gonna kind of call it out, and how it's gonna be is I'm gonna have you breathe in for 5 seconds, hold for 7, and exhale for 8, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, so I want you guys to go ahead, and I want you to breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhaling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Okay. All right, no one passed out. Good. All right, we're gonna just do it one more time and then we'll pause, okay? So same thing. And if you're someone that doesn't want to practice the cycle too, that's fine too, okay? All right, so we'll do it one more time. I want you to go ahead and breathe in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Okay. So hopefully even today you maybe noticed a slight, a little shift, right? Where maybe your body relaxed for a minute, maybe you noticed your breathing kind of regulated. Again, breathing exercises are great. Again, I'm not here to oversell a breathing exercise. Some of my clients do not like them, and that's okay. I like it though because it's free and it's effective and you can do it, right? No matter what kind of day we're having, for maybe some of you in here, your coping skills is the gym or calling a loved one, right? But again, the best coping skills are ones that are more applicable. And again, what happens the day that your loved one's busy or they move away or they're unavailable, right? Like I love my mom, she's like my support system, but now she cares for my grandparents, which I'm totally fine with, right? But again, we kind of have to learn for our mental health to adapt and have a variety of things of how we cope. And the number one coping skill I always think is yourself. You always have to find ways to calm yourself down. It's really nobody else's responsibility but your own. So that's why I really like breathing exercises, okay? So again, I encourage all of you to practice one later, but again, you kind of have to keep adding so the next time. And again, for a lot of you in here that are very like fit, you could probably do the 5 to 6 cycles right away. If you feel like you're somebody that this really struggled, just the 2, then kind of build it up to 4 and then do 6, okay? All right, a few other strategies for your mental health. We kind of did one already. Two, because it's your mental health, it's this awareness of every aspect of your life is important. I can't tell you how many clients come in and say, Emily, like I'm doing my medication, I'm doing therapy, but I don't feel better. Again, a lot of it is what your lifestyle is. If you want to improve your quality of mental health and regulate your nervous system, you have to change how your day is. So number two, it's really about creating a healthy routine. For a lot of clients I work with, I really focus on how is your morning. The clients that have really well-regulated mental health, they are people that get up, they have a pretty rigid schedule, like they'll either work out or meditate, spend time listening to music, right? And it's the same thing for the evening. You know, clients of mine that really are healthy in their mental health, they have a system set in place. They maybe will say, hey, I don't be on my phone 2 hours before bed. I like color before bed, or I talk to a loved one, right? Again, routine's really important because again, what you're trying to do is you're trying to regulate your nervous system. And when you're somebody that maybe is chaotic and doesn't have a schedule, your nervous system automatically might be out of that window of tolerance because it doesn't know what's going on. So one of the best ways to help with your mental health is to start to create a more stable, structured schedule, okay? 3 is huge. We are genetically wired for connection. So that's why I'm sure even of those of you that come to these meetings, you might drive home and kind of feel good, right? You might be like, oh, I talked to so-and-so, I connected. And why is that? Is we are meant to connect together. We're genetically wired, which is why so many people struggled, you know, during COVID, where you had to isolate. We don't thrive like that. So even people you know in your life that are more recluses, that's not healthy for them, right? And we won't kind of get into that, but the reality is we can't really benefit in our mental health if we're by ourselves. So really connection with others is really important. 4, track and name your emotions. One quick strategy I'll teach you guys is every day, take a moment, whether it's in the morning or afternoon, and just pause, okay? You don't have to do this with anybody. I do this every day, and I'll say, Emily, how do you feel today? What is your emotion? What is going on? And why I do that is because part of mental health is getting connected with yourself. For a lot of us, we're just going through the emotions and we have no idea whether we're sad, we're angry, we're disappointed and hurt. And so what happens is we're just kind of existing. So number 4 is important because it's about reflection, or more importantly, self-reflection, right? So again, learning to do that for yourself. And I know all of you guys have different schedules, so you kind of pick a time that works for you, but this is really helpful because again, you're preparing yourself. If you wake up and you're pissed off and frustrated and you just start your day, that's not gonna help you, right? With clients that I work with that have, you know, anxious or feel anger, like I'll suggest maybe do a workout or journal, right? We kind of have to release those emotions, okay? And then the last one is setting boundaries. This one I could talk about for a really long time, but we don't have time. So really what boundaries are, you guys, is think of a fence, okay? Boundaries go around you. The people in life that have very passive boundaries are more of those people pleasers. That negatively can impact your mental health because you're always doing things for other people, right? And then the other analogy is on the opposite end. If you're somebody that's really rigid and you like don't do anything for anybody, that doesn't help either. So what I like to teach clients is be in the middle, which is have that fence up that's strong and sturdy but can be open. So boundaries are really a way that you protect yourself. And how this pertains to mental health is your boundaries might be what are the times that you're doing stuff for you, right? Whether it's participating in hobbies you like, seeing your family and friends, making sure you prioritize maybe working out, eating healthy, right? So again, people that tend to have really strong, resilient mental health tend to be people that have very healthy boundaries, that they are aware, I can do this, but I can't do that, right? And then the last part is how you could support yourself and others in mental health. Basically, you guys can think about for yourself, for all of you in here, you all are probably on a different continuum. The way that I like to explain this is you could think of on this wall, people are mentally well, and on that wall, people are mentally compromised. And I often ask this question to every new client that comes in. I'll say, where do you think you're at? And I don't mean to do this, but I'm kind of tricking them, because most people will say they're on this wall or that wall. Well, most people in mental health are going to say they're on the other wall. But the reality is, you guys, that's a trick question. What actually happens is nobody's ever on the mentally well side, even myself as a mental health therapist, because it's not obtainable. But the same is true with mentally compromised. Nobody is ever that far gone. What really tends to happen is we're all on this life continuum. We're all in this life continuum, and for all of us, we're going to go through different adversities, right? Some people might lose a parent or go through some type of stress, right? And so the goal of it is to be aware of where you're at and try to stay more towards the mentally well. Or some of you guys might have learned the term baseline, right? Again, it's that window of tolerance, trying to stay there. So again, it's this awareness of, if you are somebody that you notice you're moving further along from your baseline, right? And you notice that you're struggling. I think the big factor when you might need help for yourself, and maybe your friends calling isn't enough or working out isn't enough, is when you really start to notice there's dysfunction in your life. You're not sleeping anymore. You're maybe not showing up to things you really like, right? Maybe you're somebody that loves to do golf, right? And you're just not going anymore, right? So again, I think when you know that you might need help is when dysfunction shows up. Again, maybe you're not sleeping, your appetite is off, things no longer feel exciting anymore. You're kind of avoiding other people. You're not showing up to things, right? Again, it impacts everybody different. But the reality is, how you could support yourself is just to be honest. I think the big takeaway I hope you guys understand is mental health is real, and it should be just as important as physical health, right? Physical health is something that people don't mind talking about, right? I go to the doctor, I get a checkup. It should be the same for mental health, right? So again, how you could take care of yourself is just to be honest. If you don't know, even if you ever decide you want therapy, you never have to commit. There's something called like a free consultation. My office does it. If you don't want to go to my office, that's okay. Most places have it. So even if you're someone when you're on the fence and you're not sure, you could call, ask questions. Again, there's no commitment. A lot of places have like a 15-minute consultation phone call that's free, right? So it's not like you have to sign up. And then the other important thing too is, I think a lot of people think you have to be really struggling to help with your mental health. I think that that's not necessarily the case. I think now with more modernized mental health, people are reaching out when they even have like a stressor at work, or maybe they want to make a life change. So I think the other area of mental health is trying to be more proactive, not kind of waiting until you're on that edge, right, where you're near the mentally compromised to get help. Right? Nobody deserves that. So it's about being proactive and paying attention. And if you start to see you're not doing well, that's can be easier to get support until you're on that end. Because what typically happens when you're on the extreme end, and where I kind of got this analogy from was when I learned about suicide. It's people that tend to take their life where they've moved so far gone from their baseline that they're in like a danger or crisis zone that they tend to do that. Right? So again, our goal is to reach out before we're really in a crisis, okay? And again, I know that's not always easy, but just keeping that in mind. And then the last part is how you could support others. I think it's important that, at least what I've learned in mental health is, and this is hard for a lot of us because we have very one-dimensional thinking, really start to know that it's not always about you. And I'm not trying to say that in like a negative way, but we tend to think about what's going on in our life, our problems, right? Our shortcomings, our problems, that we might miss that maybe our coworker's depressed, or maybe a friend of ours just lost their loved one. So I think it is our responsibility as we check with ourselves for our mental health, but I think also being more receptive and open, and paying attention, right? And again, everyone's going to show you in different ways. I can't tell you enough about how many clients I know that come in that nobody in their life knows they're struggling. Nobody knows that they either are depressed, suicidal, struggling with PTSD. So I think it's helpful that when we do these events to just bring awareness that I need your guys' help too, right? Like just paying attention. And again, none of you have to be like a therapist or do anything or even give a number out. It could just be going up to somebody that you know that's usually really happy and maybe they've been down and just saying, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? I think what people really struggle with their mental health is it's called attunement, meaning you have the ability to see how somebody's doing. And I think that we're missing that. And again, for myself as a therapist, I can only do so much. So again, I think it's helpful for all of you guys to try to challenge yourself and just to be more receptive, you know? Seeing how your family's doing and your friends. Again, nobody has to work harder than other people. It is somebody's individual responsibility to care for themselves. But again, I think sometimes we could notice things that are going on and just kind of support them. And I think is that the last slide? And then the last slide is just kind of about resources for you guys. So the first part is my business. If anybody you guys know that needs mental health, we are located in Orland on 15717 on Wolf Road. We see individual clients, families and groups, and then I put our contact information. And then I also just listed a couple other mental health resources that you guys can have, and they're going to share these slides. And then there's also crisis hotlines. 988 came out last year, which was a big deal. You know, if someone feels suicidal and they don't want to be alone in it, they can reach out to that number. And if there's anybody else here that wants more mental health resources, I have a bunch. I just didn't want to like overwhelm you guys, but those are some of the main ones. And I think that's it.
Does anybody have any questions for Emily at all? John?
Yeah, how does the therapist like shift to that was a question, the window of, I guess,
Window
where
of
you talk about the window, like if they're outside of that,
Uh-huh.
upper end or lower end, what kind of, how are they doing that for them? Are they looking at their own history of the patient, or is that baseline or what's normal in society?
Are you sharing, like, how do we know that they're out of their window?
Right. Well, I guess it could be obvious, but like, I guess what I'm trying to get at is how, like, what factors, how is the therapist
Well, like, how do we know they are?
Yeah.
Okay, so he asked a really good question. He asked, like, how do we know our clients are out of the window? And then there's a bunch of different ways. I mean, when I first started off as a therapist, I probably didn't know, just because you're new and you're like gaining your clinical skills. Now it is pretty obvious, you know? Typically we start to know, even in session, you know? Like the goal of therapy too is somebody shouldn't be dysregulated in therapy, right? Meaning like in the beginning it's fine, right? But part of our responsibility is to kind of ground them. So there's a few factors. Number one, we'll know based on if somebody comes in and says, I've had a history of depression for 10 years, right? So right there, that's evidence that they are below the window of tolerance, right? That they've had a decade of being maybe severely depressed. Other ways of us knowing are just what their symptoms are, what they're sharing. And again, the big one, you guys, is, and I didn't have time to really clarify this in the session, it's about what the relationship is. So again, for all of you in here, your nervous system is built on that hierarchy without you knowing. You're gonna be anxious throughout the day. Like a quick example, I'm not really a shy person, but I was a little anxious to come to talk to you guys because I do care. So I would say that's where I went above my window, but it was a normal amount. I maybe just felt a little anxious. I called a friend and talked about it for a few minutes and I grounded myself. So that is very appropriate, right? Me getting that anxiety, which if I think of a scale 0 to 10, I was probably at a 3. So I went above my window, which was normal, and then I went back in, right? Now that's not really an issue because that matches, that it's congruent, means it's appropriate, right? It would be different if maybe I got to a 10 and then I was at a 10 all day. So yeah, to answer your question, it's different for everybody, but we typically know even in the paperwork, like they'll share, I have anxiety and I have it like 10 hours of the day. So sometimes it is very obvious, but then sometimes it's not, and that's our responsibility as a therapist to really like get to know the client, really hear what they're saying, learning about their experiences. Did I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. And also too, you guys, all of us have different components of anxiety, meaning it's also genetic. right? So when I talk about that window above and below, some of us are gonna go above it more than others, and some of us might stay there more than others. Again, just like you get passed down like eye color, skin color from your parents, you also get passed down their mental health, right? So like if mom or dad was anxious, you might be somebody that's more predisposed. So that's why I self-disclose to you guys. I am already more of an anxious person, and I think I get that from my dad. So again, there's kind of a lot that goes into that. So that's another way that we might know too is history. Does the client or their parents really struggle with mental health too? That can kind of influence the dysregulation. Any other questions?
Well, now we're going to have a little bit of fun, actually. So I would like to go around the room. We did this in the past. We haven't actually done it for a little bit. But this is a really great way to, number one, introduce yourself. Number two, what your business is. And number three, since we did touch upon mental health and, self-care is extremely important and doing something that brings you joy. The third thing I ask is, why don't you guys share what you do that brings joy to yourself? So, for instance, my name is Sarah Stashukevich. I'm the CEO of the Orland Park Area Chamber of Commerce, and one thing that I enjoy doing is going to hot yoga. I love yoga. I love the stretching aspect. I love just it gives me more energy, and I just feel a lot better, and I'm able to meditate for a little bit, and I feel really great afterward. So, who wants to start? All right.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Susan Parisi, and I'm the owner of Elite Maintenance and Painting, based here in Orland Park. And what I like to do that keeps me kind of centered and happy is I do something called Qigong, and I'm actually getting my certification in that. So, thank you.
I broke the mic. I'm Lindsay Evans, the Liberty Point Consulting and Liberty Point Realty. We are fractional CFOs for small businesses. I go for walks. So I'm on my third large weight loss journey. I'm down 82 pounds. Okay. So my second weight loss journey, I was walking 5 to 8 miles a day. When I lived in Lincoln Park, it was like way easier than walking 5 to 8 miles out here. But I'm up to 2, so here we go.
So hello everybody, my name is Catherine Dahlberg. I'm with the OCD and Anxiety Center. So what I like to do is I like to walk too. I like to walk with my dog.
Hi, I'm Janessa Roman. Yeah, that's weird. I'd rather just talk out loud because I got a big mouth in my face. Like I said, my name is Janessa Roman. I'm from the OCD Anxiety Center. Just like Catherine, I'm a licensed professional counselor. And what I enjoy doing, I know everyone's talked about a lot of great physical things that actually work for me too, but I'm a really big gamer, so I really enjoy playing games, especially with my friends, and we can all get online and play together. And it's just really a different way to connect with others, which is my big thing in COVID too. Here you are. Sorry.
My name is Elise Center. I work with Community Services Foundation. I'm a development director. And mine would probably be like self-care. If I notice I'm getting anxious, I'll put a massage or do something nice for myself. So
Do I need the mic? My name is Michelle Cruz. I am the Office of Marketing Manager for Edwards Realty Company. And to relax myself, I hang out with my friends and drink wine. And here's one of my friends that I drink wine with.
I'm a wine drinking friend. Nabia Zigar. I am the owner of Publicity Communications. We help municipalities get their word out and different organizations. I was thinking about it, and I was going to say gardening because that's, I do garden and I do find joy in that. However, and this is probably twisted, so I probably need to come see you, but I tend to either focus on something else, and it's probably a way of regulating myself, but I try to take myself out of the situation that I'm in by accomplishing a task, whether it be work or something I need to get done around the house, but I kind of remove myself from the situation. Is it disassociation? Maybe, but it works for me.
All right, I am Val Eisenbart. I am a veterinarian with Hometown Veterinary Partners in Orland Park over on 179th and Wolf. I like to go bird watching with my husband and my kids. Like I feel there's a walking part with looking and finding birds. I don't know, somehow makes us all, I feel like, connect with nature.
Hello everyone, my name is Pam Greer. I am the owner of PRG Enterprises, and I'm also a licensed realtor powered by Coldwell Banker Realty. Also, I am a TV host of The American Dream. It's a lifestyle, culture, and real estate show. So what I find joy in doing is going around talking to my local communities, my businesses in the area, and putting a spotlight on those who are doing amazing things in the community. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeff Otway. I'm with Edward Jones here in Orland Park. I'm a certified financial planner. One thing that I do, I have a lot of things, but the main thing is probably playing guitar. I like to play guitar. I've been doing it for over 20 years, so the guy in the suit plays guitar.
I'm Glenn Workowski. I own and operate a band in Kitchen Remodeling. My favorite activity is to make fun of no, I don't. I'm an amateur woodworker. I go down to my shop, I put on my dust mask, my earphones, my plugs, and I go in my own little world.
My name is Doug Gibson. I own Maximum Maintenance Incorporated. My favorite thing is to work on OPACC. I just love the way they look.
That was my guess.
Hi, my name is Jim Pressler. I'm a budget strategist with Schooley Mitchell. And my favorite thing is I'm a distance cycler. I may not go that fast, but I like putting 50 miles under my belt and I just need to relax. I know it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense.
My name is Anthony Nunez. I am with Tech Credit Union. I'm a branch manager right here at the branch in Orland Park. I like to golf. I like to golf with my friends a lot.
Hi everyone, I am Cindy Drew. I'm a publisher with Orland Park Living, and my joy is gardening. I love to be out with my flowers and Miracle Grow and water. I just think it's just so beautiful, and it just brings me great joy.
Hi, my name's Rob Waymeyer. I am the owner with my wife of Waymeyer Portraits. I'm also from Waymeyer Photography. We do a mix of corporate, industrial, architectural photography, and family and children photography. My favorite thing to do is to travel out, find a place I haven't been before, and explore it with my camera. So I actually do a lot of photography out and about, exploring.
Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm from JJ Complete Auto. I own a small auto shop with my husband and 156 Acadia. I like to go vacation all the time, then I like to drink because I have teenage son that just graduated high school and 2 girls coming in freshman. So I need to drink.
My name is Karen Well-Dressed Window. I'm the showroom manager, and my joy is reading and gardening, spending some time with my family.
Hi, I'm Marie Ventura with the great mortgage team of Marie and Tobias. This is Tobias. So we have this is our first time coming to an Orland Chamber meeting. We just joined a few months ago, but we have been struggling to align our calendars. I went to the Darvin's event and really enjoyed that. Like, this is great. So we're we have our mortgage office in Tinley, right on Oak Park Avenue, right across from Bailey's. And so we're very active in the Tinley Chamber, but we had heard great things about Orland, and so here we are. My favorite thing to do to relax is really to just be in community with people, and whether that's eating, drinking, reading the Bible, and we do that on Tuesdays. And we also, Tuesday mornings, we host a TOPS group, which is Taking Off Pounds Sensibly, and it's a group of, it's been around for like 75 years, and helps people lose weight in community. So we eat, we drink, and then we try to lose weight. Yeah. And repeat.
And I'm Tobias Yamlatara, and as you know, great mortgage team, I'm Maria and Tobias, but my favorite thing to do is golf. And my dream is, Maria and I are a couple, some people don't know that. We've only met like 4 years ago, but we are a couple, and we are business partners, and my dream in life is to play golf with her. I love playing golf, so being business partners and being a couple is not enough. I want to play golf with her too. So I'm a golfer.
He hasn't really played golf with me yet. So yeah.
I'm a golfer who does not obsess about my score, which is, if you saw my scorecard, you would say that's a really smart one.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Kleva. I'm the Community Engagement Manager at the Orland Park Public Library. What I like to do, I mean, I feel like everybody can guess, I like to read to relax. Especially, I do a lot of e-audiobooks, and it's even better when I can get them for free from the library. And I also like to build miniatures, and I have so many hobbies, but miniatures and hanging out with my my bunny and listening to e-audiobooks, that's what I do to relax.
Hello, my name is Jasmine Davis. I am the event sales manager at Bogaday Shone. I read and I cook. That's how I unwind.
Nadia. I'm also a photographer. I do portrait photography, branding, professional photography, glamour and boudoir, mostly for ladies. So I was just sitting and listening to everyone, and I was like, I probably have such a stressful life. I have so many things I do to relax, you know, yoga and meditation. I don't really like to breathe, but I think yoga helps me to breathe. I also like knitting and baking and taking walks and taking pictures with my camera when I walk. So that's it. And watching comedies also.
Good afternoon. I'm Catherine Steffo, and I am a director for the District 230 Foundation Board. You might not know what that is, but what the Foundation Board does is it does events or develops partnerships to get money so that we can honor grant requests from the teachers at the 3 high schools in District 230. And just last week, we were able to award $40,000 in grants to grant the teacher request. And we still had 7 grants that we didn't get to honor, and they were fantastic as well. So our goal is to continue to connect, and today has been wonderful. I have 2 years I've been trying to make some headway in one direction, and I had 3 people who came forward and answered that request. So I feel like today was a super event for us, so thank you. To relax, I like to talk. Besides that, I really do love my daughter got a puppy, and to hold that baby, that little puppy, is just so super relaxing, and I also love gardening. So have a great day, and thank you. Yeah.
I'm Andy. Most of you know me. I met new people today, and I met you last week. What do I do to relax? I like to get bird food. Take my socks off, whatever, and if I can find mud, I just go on it and I just feel that. It's really relaxing. I like to take walks in the forest, bird food, of course. Also play music. And I like to write. I came up with an alphabet and I just use that and I write it so no one knows when I'm writing. It's awesome. But yeah, that's what I do.
Hello, and I guess I'm the last one here.
Actually, Emily.
Oh, Emily.
We haven't heard from Emily yet.
So my name is Mike. I'm the media coordinator here. This is our team right here. We're happy to have you here. I like to relax, same way as Andy. Not the mud part, but the music part. And actually similar to Jeff, I like to play guitar, I like to play piano. And similar to Rob, I like to travel and play music at the same time. So, and that's it. And here we go.
Last but not least.
They save the best for last. Just kidding. I kind of have of similarities to you guys, but I'd say like the best way that I connect is I have a golden retriever Hercules. He's actually a Bears dog. He's really sweet. I'd say like how I relax is like I take him for walks. I think, you know, as like you guys said, it's like can be kind of difficult. So I think my ways of coping are typically being outside, like going for walks outside, and then with my dog. I'd say those are like the 2 ways that I try to cope with kind of stress or things that come up for me.
I understand the fear of, you know, having to just randomly go up to somebody and be like, hey, my name is Sarah, it's nice meeting you, what company are you from? This kind of really does, it's an icebreaker, right? Now you guys are able to recognize faces, the names, who's part of what business or company, and it's just kind of, again, like I said, that icebreaker. You're able to, oh, well, I like gardening too. You know what, I may not need these type of services, but you know what, I'm gonna come over here and talk to Cindy because she likes gardening just like I do, and then you start that connection, right? So that concludes our meeting. We will of course be around, grab more food, network with people that you probably learned all about just going around the room. Have fun, and yeah, we'll be around.
No, that's not.